This month marks the 30th anniversary of TED Talks, a nonprofit initiative that gives the world's great thinkers a global platform and a maximum of 18 minutes to get their idea across. Notable speakers have included Oprah Winfrey, Stephen Hawking, Al Gore, Colin Powell, and the late Steve Jobs. The list goes on and on. I talked earlier to Carmine Gallo. He's studied more than 500 of these presentations. He's also the author of the new book, Talk Like TED, The 9 Public Speaking Secrets of the World's Top Minds. I asked him what exceptional TED Talks have in common.
All TED Talks, I've reviewed 500 of them, 150 hours as you mentioned. Some are better than others. I look at them as an independent, objective observer. But what I realized is that the best TED Talks, the ones that go viral, have 3 common elements. In order for persuasion to occur, a pitch or a presentation must be emotional, novel, and memorable. Emotional, you need to reach my heart before you reach my head. Novel, teach me something new. Teach me something unexpected, surprising. And finally, memorable. There are a number of different techniques that TED presenters use as well as other great speakers use to make sure that the message and their idea are memorable, that they stick.
So there's a TED Talk that many people would be familiar with that I like, Jill Taylor, who actually experienced firsthand what a stroke feels like. Can you use that as an example of techniques that she used? Why does it resonate with me?
I absolutely do. Her name is Dr. Jill Taylor, for those of you who haven't seen it. She's a Harvard brain researcher who gave an 18-minute talk on what happened after she had a stroke. She was a brain researcher who had a stroke. And in the middle of her presentation, she said, how cool is that? So it was humorous, it was informative, it was inspiring, but I'll bet I know exactly, Amanda, what you remembered most. And let me guess, you remembered the part where Dr. Jill Taylor had a tray with a real human brain on it. Is that correct?
Yep, I do remember that.
There are scientists say, I really went into the neuroscience of all this. The reason why that video went viral, the reason why you remember it, is because of what scientists call an emotionally charged event. It is an event within a presentation that elicits shock, surprise, fear. So in order for you to get your idea across and to make it memorable, you have to have that one moment, I call it a jaw-dropping moment, scientists call it an emotionally charged event, that is surprising, unexpected, new, and novel. And that's why you remembered that part of her presentation.
Now, most of us are not going to be asked to give TED Talks, but this information is useful for us all. Give me the case that this is the kind of technique that we should all be thinking about.
Ideas are the currency of the 21st century. In the information age, in the digital age, you are only as valuable as your ideas and how persuasively you get those ideas across. So it doesn't matter whether you're giving a TED Talk to 1,000 people in an 18 minutes or a workshop or just a pitch or a 5-minute pitch looking for funding or trying to sell a product. You need to be able to communicate effectively and persuasively if you hope to stand out in a sea of noise and products. And the reason why I look at TED Talks is because in 18 minutes you get a really good idea of what a good presentation is. It's fresh, they're novel, they're visual, they're visually interesting, even the ones who use PowerPoint. So there are a number of things that we can learn from it, but I think the #1 skill that will help anybody achieve their dreams and their career aspirations is the ability to communicate their ideas persuasively.
Now, you do actually focus in on the specifics of hand gestures. I have to ask about this because I speak with my hands. I can't help myself. What's the rule on hand gestures?
Right. Use them. Don't. I'm Italian, so maybe it's a little easier for me to use my hands. There's actually research. There's research that supports everything we're talking about, but there is research being done at the University of Chicago that shows that people who use what are called complex gestures, 2 hands above the waist doing complex gestures, are actually complex thinkers. And it gives the listener confidence in the speaker. So there's this old rule of thumb, don't use your hands or put your hands stiffly by your sides. No, that doesn't work. Today's public speaking is much more natural, much more authentic. But yes, you need to understand what is my body saying? How is my voice modulating? How is my intonation? So you really do have to focus on both verbal delivery and your body language if you really want to impact somebody. It's not just the message, although I believe the story and the message must come first.
All right, and I got to ask you, you've probably watched more TED Talks than anybody. Do you have a favorite, an all-time best TED speaker that you would point to?
Yes, it actually depends on the category, believe it or not, what I'm looking for. My favorite right now, I'll just go with right now in the moment, is Bryan Stevenson. Bryan Stevenson is a famous civil rights attorney who wins U.S. Supreme Court cases. He gave a TED Talk in 2013. So anyone can go on to TED.com and watch Bryan Stevenson. And he received the longest standing ovation of any TED speaker in all of TED's 30-year history. Why? Because he supported his data with stories. He told 3 stories. 65% of his presentation were stories, 25% data, and only about 10% evidence or credibility to back up that data. Most public presentations, most business presentations have it completely turned around, where it's mostly data and very little personal information. So you need to make that emotional connection first before persuasion occurs.
All right, we got to leave it there. Great to have you with us today.
Thank you.